This also made me think of this other scenario where people are being judged on social media. So I'm in some groups on Facebook of girls that talk about dating. I feel like a lot of the people in the groups are like a little bit judgmental.
Yeah.
And I think it's because sadly a lot of people have had negative experiences dating. So that's kind of like the bias that they're in. Like they almost assume that everyone is bad until someone proves them wrong, which is kind of sad, but it just seems that way from the way that people write these posts. And there are some blaring red flags in this group that people post, but sometimes a guy will like send a text or something or make a joke, and then the girls will comment and be like, this guy is absolutely insane, like who would ever say this, like, and I'm like, I've heard my own friends make jokes like that, and it's like, it's really not as deep as you think it is. They're not even like bad jokes. They're just like a little awkward. And I'm like, I think you're reading too far into it. But anyway, I saw a post where this girl was talking about a guy who I think he was a nurse or a physician or something, and he posted like raunchy stuff on his Instagram. Like, I don't know if he was like maybe following Instagram models or like reposting things. Like, I forget. Basically, the idea that I got from it was this guy is cringy, but he's not a criminal.
Okay.
Sure, you might think it's weird. You might think it's awkward that he posts like that stuff, or that he's liking hot girls' pictures on Instagram. You might think that's cringy, but it's not illegal, and it doesn't necessarily make him a bad person. And then this post in this group was kind of tearing him apart because of that. And they were saying like, and he's a nurse. Like, how could anyone live with themselves if they're a nurse or a physician and then they post this stuff or they do this stuff like outside of work, like whatever. And a lot of the comments were like, ew, yeah, that's disgusting. Like, imagine going to a nurse like that or whatever. And then there were a few people that came to his defense and they were like, to be completely fair, it doesn't matter what his occupation is. Like, he's allowed to do whatever he wants on social media as long as it's not a crime. And I feel like that's so true. Like, I just feel like there are certain careers that are judged so much more highly for what they post on social media. And it's like, it really doesn't matter. Like, you could be the best, most caring doctor who is so dedicated, and you follow like hot people on Instagram and like their photos, or like post dumb quotes about dating or whatever, or you make like an off-brand joke every once in a while that the girl you're talking to thinks is like awkward or cringy. And it's like, do we really need to throw in the fact that like he's also a nurse?
Yeah.
It's like, would you have not said that if he's like a mechanic or like anything else, a banker? Is it worse because he's a nurse? In my opinion, no.
Right.
Do you ever feel like there's certain things that people talk about like not posting, or I don't know, maybe would be on the fence of sharing because they don't know how it would make them look? Or do you feel like it doesn't really happen in your place of work?
I feel like my coworkers and like the staff that I'm with, none of them would post anything that is like too out there in you know, certain people's opinions. I know like as nurses, I've never had anyone ask me for my personal information, but I have had coworkers that have become close with patients, and they want the patient asks to like friend them on Facebook or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And sometimes they do, and I think they use like, you know, judge of character and make sure that this isn't gonna be weird or, you know, bite one of them in the butt or anything. But a lot of times my coworkers do get asked to be added on like Instagram and stuff, and for the most part they say no. I think we all stay private, and it's not even because we're afraid of like posting anything that's like too out there that might like concern people that we're caring for, or even like the administration that we work for. I think people, just because of like where I work, we don't want people to find us because we're in the city and we get some weirdos.
No, that's
so like,
true.
yeah, that would be more of like our concern with social media from my experience.
Yeah. I also feel like what you said earlier about, how did you say this? Like, maybe it's a good thing, or like it could be a good sign that this preschool teacher is posting whatever she wants. I kind of think that about myself. Like, when I was early on in my career and I just wasn't as confident in my skill and like my work, I guess you could say, I was so scared to post like anything that didn't look like super professional, or I would never post about like drinking or getting drinks or whatever, because I was basically just scared scared that people would think I was unprofessional.
Yeah.
The more that I like dove into my career and furthered my skill, and like now I feel really confident and so secure in being like, yes, I am good at what I do and I care so much about my clients and my work that almost makes me, it like takes away the anxiety that I have about posting on Instagram. So I used to be so scared to post like anything that showed like my personality because I just have like a weird sense of humor and like, I don't know. And anything that's like my real life, like going out or whatever. I still obviously have a little bit of a filter about what I post because I'm not just out here posting everything every day. But I used to worry about stuff like that, and now I don't, because thoughts like that still do cross my mind from time to time. I'm like, I hope people don't think I'm just like goofing off in my life and like not gonna serve them well. But I do think that the work speaks for itself, and people hire me or like the studio that I work with because they trust us. So like I can post a picture of me at the beach, and I don't think it's gonna scare my clients into being like, is she gonna still be able to shoot my wedding? Because I'm like, no, I'm gonna show up to your wedding and you're gonna be the only thing I think about that day. And then when I have a day off, I'm gonna think about the beach or like getting drinks with my friends or something like that, and that's okay. They don't cancel each other out. And I feel like maybe that's what this preschool teacher's thinking. She's like, I give it my all every single day. The kids are my life, and when I go home, I'm allowed to think about other things.
Right. I feel like I prefer people who share. I mean, I'm one to talk, so I don't really post that much about myself, but I love like learning about people and their personalities, especially if it is like their work or business Instagram. I always love the one little post where it's like, hey, welcome to our page, this is who we are. Like I actually scroll and like look for that, because I'm like, who are these people, where are they from, like what do they look like? A lot of like photography Instagrams just show, I feel like, their portfolio, and they don't have like their own face. And I'm like, well, who's the one taking the pictures?
That's so true.
Yeah. And it's just nice to know that it's like there's a person with a personality, and it's not just like business all the time. And like, it just kind of like breaks down like a little bit of a barrier that, I don't know, makes it easier for you to connect with someone.
I agree. I agree. So post whatever you want.
Yeah,
That's the verdict.